Hello and welcome to this week's episode of The Capitalist Investor. As always, you got me, your boy, Diamond Hands D. You got Luke, Cool Hand Luke.
He almost said S.
I got it
Cool
this
Hand
time.
Luke.
And back by popular demand, Tony the Tiger. How's it going, Tony?
Give them what the public wants.
Exactly. You got to give them what they want. So, pretty big show planned for this week. It will be, since we're recording it a week early, it'll be the Wednesday before the Super Bowl. So we'll talk a couple football topics. Got some good stuff out there. But, the first thing I wanted to touch on, if you guys are by your computer, or by your phone or whatever, Tony the Tiger. Have you heard of this guy? This is Cincinnati Bengals super fan.
I can only imagine, but no, I have not.
We'll get a picture up on the YouTube stream. So this guy basically paints his face like full out and dresses up like a tiger and goes to every Cincinnati Bengals game. They showed him in the stands a couple times. It is something for a grown man to do.
I feel like every team's got their own little thing going on.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Even professional, college, even high school. Like we kind of had our own like kind of mascot / like super fan.
Oh, yeah.
Like went to every single game. It's one of those things like sports, the competitive nature, like it's in our blood. That's why we like sports so much, right? And I think that gets shown across the board, and we're about to see that come up with the Super Bowl. Like how Cincinnati's, it's their first time, right? In the Super Bowl?
No, not the first time.
Or it's the first time. Third time in the Super Bowl. It's the first time possibly that they could win the Super Bowl is what I was referring to.
I guess the last time was in the 80s, right? Against the 49ers.
Yeah, it's had to have been Boomer Esiason, I'd imagine.
87, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's been a minute, that's for sure. So, all right. So we'll go through our topics here real quick for today. So we're going to talk about our buddy, Odell Beckham Jr., taking his salary in Bitcoin, and if that was a good decision or not. Spoiler alert, probably not. And we're going to talk a little bit about something Mark tweeted out the other week. Basically, you got to be willing at times to take what the market gives you. You may have your own narrative on the market or a specific stock. It just may not fit in the time period. So we'll talk about that a little bit. And, I think another good topic, kind of life for Tom Brady after retirement. So we'll reflect on that, and I'm sure it will be good. I read they're already worth, that Tom Brady and Giselle are worth about $800 million, something like that.
I think she has a higher net worth than he does, from last thing I saw, which is crazy.
Yeah,
I never would have known that she was raking in the bucks like that. Jesus.
I think that's what you call a power couple right there.
Yeah,
that is true. All right, so let's set up this OBJ. So for those of you who don't know, Odell Beckham essentially forced his way out of Cleveland. We could talk about that. Essentially, I don't think ever really wanted to be in Cleveland. The last year obviously didn't work out. He got cut, so that means he was free to sign with anyone. And when he signed with the Rams for the rest of the season for $750,000. However, because it's the cool thing to do these days, he decided to take his salary in Bitcoin. And then Bitcoin, like a lot of the other crypto, fell significantly to start this year. So essentially, when you take out taxes and you factor in the loss of the value on the Bitcoin, he's coming up somewhere only about 50,000 in the positive instead of that 750 that he was promised. Or not promised, but that his salary was.
The interesting thing is all these people say that they're taking their salary in Bitcoin, but really what they're doing is they're converting their salary in Bitcoin after they receive essentially the cash and stuff, right?
Okay, well, I mean, if that is what they're doing, then I don't feel as bad.
Well, exactly.
For them, I
But
guess.
That's why they get into this predicament, because if they were to take their salary in Bitcoin and just directly get transferred the Bitcoin directly, then he wouldn't necessarily owe the taxes. There'd be different tax liabilities than getting paid that amount, paying the taxes, and then losing the value.
Yeah. I mean, the headline is he took it in Bitcoin,
Right.
and then I saw it as a meme.
Right.
And I think I passed it across the office, and we were all giggling. But I don't think an employer is paying. They're not going out and buying the Bitcoin and then distributing it through payroll. Like,
Right.
I don't see that happening. So that's one thing. Also, as the meme, the headline, giggle, he's only made 50 grand. Well, he didn't receive 750 grand at the top, and it got cut in half, basically. He didn't get it all at once and put it in at the top. So he dollar cost averaged down, I guess, too. And now he's dollar cost averaging up. But if he's buying it in his personal account, he is being a little bit obviously smarter about it, because now he can hold, he can sell, he can wait for, short-term cap gains, long-term cap gains. There's a lot of angles that he can play.
Yeah.
But on the surface, it's like, what a dummy.
And this is kind of should make people think, like, there are people doing this that, are middle-class average Americans, you know what I mean? That are taking their salary, their paychecks, and converting into Bitcoin. I mean, this is a prime example, though, of the risk that you're taking, right?
Yep.
It's not like you're taking your salary in a stable, non-risky asset. You could lose half of your money, and a lot of people can't afford to lose half of their money with this kind of thing, right?
Yeah, it's about sizing it appropriately. Right. How much are you willing to lose? We've probably talked about that on several shows now and TV. Size your crypto investment according to what, if it went to zero tomorrow, you're not going to be in the hurt box.
Yeah. So, I think this brings up several interesting tangents. We could take it a lot of different ways. It's been very popular for stars to take some salary, or what we've talked about here. They're converting the cash that they get into crypto. Crypto to become mainstream and to do everything that all the crypto junkies think it can be. Essentially removing banks and central governments, honestly, from people's personal lives, right? You are in control of your Bitcoin. To use that as a currency that everyone uses, we're still a very, very long ways away from that.
Yeah. I mean, we are, because, how do we value Bitcoin? Like, this whole conversation today was converting his $750,000 salary. Like, we use dollars to value Bitcoin, right? Mm-hmm. Eventually, if Bitcoin is going to become what everybody that's a believer in Bitcoin wants it to become, we will no longer value Bitcoin in dollars. Like, that's the point it has to get to. Yeah. But we are, like you said, so far away from that happening. And that's, again, why you have to take a look at this, like, from a decade or 2 decades out.
Yeah. Yeah. But, something I saw that's kind of a tangent to this conversation, Kathy Woods, and, I don't mean to beat her up. I honestly don't know much about her. But she did call $500,000 price per coin for Bitcoin and $170,000 per Ethereum by the year 2030. So if OBJ just hangs on to that Bitcoin for another 8 years, 8 years, he should be on Easy Street.
Yeah, that all comes to if that all happens, great.
But that also comes kind of with our next topic. I don't want to scoot into it, but that fits right into take what the market gives you and stop trying to force your own narrative, right? So if you're in it for the 10 years, then great. Like, you had a strategy going into it. You know what risk you were taking. But there's some people in there that are looking to kind of get rich quick off of this stuff, right? Yep. Yeah. And they're putting all their money into this stuff, like Bitcoin, and it cuts cut in half, NFTs, whatever you want to talk about.
Yeah. Well, I'm just thinking right now, I'm like, he can't buy anything in Bitcoin. He's not taking it. There's no way he's putting every single paycheck into Bitcoin. Well, how's he living his lifestyle? Because I've seen him roll up to Cleveland Brown Stadium, and the cars he's in aren't cheap. They're not free. They're 6-figure cars, they're $300,000-$400,000 cars. Like, that comes from somewhere, right? It's not, you don't buy them in Bitcoin. Maybe if you're in California, I've seen car Lamborghini dealerships take Bitcoin. Elon was doing it for a little bit, but you can't buy many things in Bitcoin. Let's just put it that way.
Right.
So yeah, I think that is a good segue into, because I saw Mark tweet this out a couple weeks back. Just like the market, just like Bitcoin, all these different investments, they just don't go straight up, right? The valuation is a very important thing. When you are investing based on things you see on Twitter and you don't spend a lot of time on it, and you just say, hey, everyone is getting rich off of this, I need to do this, and you don't do any further due diligence or research on the topic, you could be in trouble. So I think Bitcoin and Ethereum for me is a great example, because when I saw the price of those cryptocurrencies go down in a big way, my first thought was to buy more. Just because there was short-term price fluctuations did not really deter me from my overall thesis on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency.
Right.
So I didn't see the price go down 10% and say, oh my gosh, I got to get out of all of my cryptocurrency right now. It is more of this is to be expected. This is a highly volatile asset class. It should be treated as such. I believe, my thoughts on it haven't changed. So maybe I can get some on sale.
Yeah. I'm going to say something that our chief investment strategist, Nate, says a lot. Something along the lines of, if you've got the wrong timing, that's the same thing as being wrong, right? So even though you might have had the right thesis in the end or the right narrative, price action sometimes doesn't follow, especially right away. Like, maybe your thesis plays out 2 years from now rather than 6 months from now that you thought was going to play out, right? But you have to have something in place to where you get out and you have a strategy behind you getting in that's going to make sure you don't get a big loss or have a big loss that you can't hold on to forever because you got to make it up.
Being early in an investment isn't always a good thing.
Right.
You might have caught it on the way down.
Exactly.
Right? So, and I think what Nate really, I hear what he says is entry point is the most critical thing. It is the difference of making an additional 10 to 15%. Because you're right. The thesis is there, but something just drags that stock down 10% when you get in. Now what? Now are you going to be? What's your threshold? Are you gonna cut your losses at 15? Are you gonna be stubborn, hold it, and watch it go to 30, just to sit around and wait for you to get your money back? So being early to the game is double-edged sword.
You have to change with the information. I think that's so important because, even a change in price is new information. Like if you're down 5% or up 5%, like that's new information. So you really have new information every single day, and every day you gotta decide: should I cut this stock?
Yeah.
Or should I buy more of this stock? Should I hold on to this stock? Like those are decisions that you have to make every day, and a lot of people don't realize that. They think they go into a position, they have one set thesis in mind. That's what they think is going to happen. And sometimes it doesn't play out that part. And then people do hold on forever thinking it's going to go back up or whatever that be. Right. But you have to always change. You have to always evolve.
Yeah.
Things change. Your thesis can change. Just keep that in mind.
Yeah. Check your ego at the door. Humility is a real thing. Right.
Yeah,
so
sure.
be prepared to cut your losses, even though you could have been right if you were a week later. Right.
Absolutely. And, actually, I think Tony was in on the 2022 predictions show.
Yeah. Oh, God, how wrong I am right now.
So last week, Tony, I highlighted how wrong I was on Ethereum as I called for it to double up, and it basically got cut in half in the first week of the year. So that's a rough start.
I think we all were right about like the 10% correction.
If I did nail that one.
We kind of called that perfectly.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as you don't drop much further. I mean,
you got 11 more months for it it's a threefold, I guess.
Yep. So I have, as I've already said, I have not backed off of that stance. But one I wanted a company that I thought of for this conversation was Peloton, because way back in the day, back when Mark and I were first doing this podcast, it was kind of in the the depths of COVID, March, April, May time frame in 2020, and the Peloton stock was blowing up, right? Because no one was ever leaving their house again, and everyone still wanted to work out, so everyone was ordering a Peloton. That stock has crashed back to reality. And I have written down here, buying a company versus buying a company and the valuation. It's everyone who's going to have an opinion on all these stocks out there. Everyone, uses a lot of them every day, right? Apple, Google, Netflix, it's all Amazon, all part of everyone's lives. So yeah, it made sense. Peloton is a great company. The stock's going up. But when you got into, the actual long-term prospects of that company, they were really just making bikes and trying to do a subscription model.
Right.
And in fact, I think they do it pretty well, honestly. The bikes are a pretty good product. The classes, they're expanding all those. They have more products. Like, all that is great. It was just drastically overvalued for what it was, right? So if you like the company, you always have to take that next step to figure out, like Luke was saying, what is your entry point? Where do you want to get in? And what do you think, what price is going to be optimal to kind of write out your position for however long that you want to do it.
Right. I mean, COVID pulled, I don't know how many years of sales forward for Peloton in particular.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many more bikes they're really going to sell on an annualized basis because everyone bought them,
right?
Unless they're on back order. Somebody was telling me that I believe they're building a production facility somewhere here in Ohio. And where does that stand now? Because again, I feel that they pulled all those sales forward several years at least. Are they going to be really producing any? I don't know. How many are going to be for resale?
So well, I mean, it's actually funny. I was at like a conference with a group of buddies, and somebody up there was talking about how they are moving their production facility over here to Ohio, and how they're going to make all of their Peloton bikes here in Ohio. And I made a comment to the buddies. I'm like, not anymore. It was like the day of they stopped the production, but it's true. Like they pulled forward so much demand. The problem is the demand sticky? Is the demand going to stay there? And, that's what they're facing right now. The demand's not as strong as they thought it was going to be, and they overproduced. So now they're cutting back production. But, you're exactly right, Derek. It comes down to valuation sometimes, and things do eventually come back to reality. Look at AMC, GameStop, those stocks. Those are prime examples of fundamentals do eventually kick in and matter.
We'll see how those meme stocks play out because they ran up. I know that they probably liquidated shares to create capital to reinvest. Let's see how they reinvest that money. That's really what it comes down to. How are they going to reinvest things? Yeah, I know.
That's literally where they're investing their money.
We'll see how they reinvest those funds and drive the drive their product into the 21st, 22nd. Who knows? How far are they going to go? Yeah.
No, absolutely.
How good's their vision?
All right. So last but not least, let's talk a little Tom Brady. So after a weekend of, speculation, I guess, Tom Brady finally did retire from the NFL. We talk about Dave Portnoy a lot on this show. That guy lost his mind. I don't know if you saw that. But he was not happy with Tom Brady's retirement statement, which basically, didn't acknowledge the Patriots or the Patriots fans, and he lost it for like 2 days. I don't know what he thinks that Tom Brady owes him.
Well, Portnoy's a big Patriot fan, right?
Oh yeah, huge. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's how he got started, I believe. I don't know his history or everything, but I think he had like a gambling newspaper circulation. Like back in the day, like the free.
Are you talking about
boxes.
Dave?
Yeah, Portnoy.
Oh man, yeah, I was following him 15 years ago, and he
Really?
was out of his apartment.
Yep.
Literally, and he everyone Big Cat's a big player in the game now. He was working for free because I couldn't find a job. Yep. he was looking for free help. Like, who wants to write an article for my blog across the country? Like,
Yeah.
literally out of his 2-bedroom, thing in Boston. And
Now it's like a $500 million
it's crazy
firm or something.
Yeah, it's all kinds of crazy.
So anyway, he's retiring, and the numbers I heard on the radio, that Giselle was worth about $500 million, and Tom was worth about $300 million, something like that. So apparently, being a supermodel is good work if you can get it.
That's my next job. Tony, I'm out of here. Mark, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to ride my Peloton a little more for that to happen for me.
Yeah.
So
I need to ride like 4 Pelotons a day. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
I should. Yeah, we'd just move it to the office. That would be more.
Well, we're working from home tomorrow because of the snow.
The
so
storm
maybe
of
I gotta
storms.
Go buy one real quick and just work on my laptop.
Or
while
just
I'm
go
on the
shovel.
bike.
Yeah.
There you go.
That is.
So what's I'm sure he didn't say what his game plan is, but what do you think that guy does now?
That's the question, right? You mean Brady?
Brady,
right?
yeah, TB, man. What is
That's the question. He's got $800 million. How do you invest the $800 million? I mean, that's the question. He's tweeted about Bitcoin before. He's getting into NFTs. I mean, we know that. Is he going to do something like Jerome Bettis did and buy some restaurants and stuff, like things like that?
Well, I mean, like, look at Romo. I mean, Tony Romo, like, some people like him, some people don't on TV. But, like, a lot of people, I think, resonate with, like, Troy Aikman. And that guy's going to make $25 million, broadcasting for Amazon or something? I don't know how long the contract is, 5-10 years, but that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And
but
that's after.
Does Brady have the personality, though, to do TV? And I'm not – listen, I don't know. I haven't watched every one of Brady's interviews and stuff, but he just kind of seems like very straightforward, kind of. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Romo's kind of like – at least he's got, like, kind of different. I don't know. He's more of a personality.
Yeah, I mean, I know Romo does like personal golf events. He's good at golf. Like, you really don't see Tom Brady in the public,
Here, what would
except when he's chucking Lombardi trophies across the river and hoping Gronk catches that.
Right?
Like, can you imagine?
So what would you guys do if you were the
800
best 800 million best football player, in history, basically, and had your Giselle's a supermodel? What would you guys do?
I would do whatever I wanted to for at least a year. Maybe eat some real ice cream.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how that, like, that guy, ate, breathed, and drank football for, I don't know, 30 years, like from high school to college to NFL, like every day. There was no off. Like, I don't know how you turn it off.
It's like
so
you
it's
lost
probably
a part of your life.
Yeah, I mean, you're it's probably going to take a year just mentally to turn it off, maybe longer.
He's gonna be do what he did after the Super Bowl a couple years ago and go drink a couple beers and throw some Lombardi trophies off the boats. That's what he's gonna do.
I don't know, man. I don't know how. I would really like to understand the psyche of like how you turn that off. It's like, if I were not to come to work tomorrow, like, I don't know how long it would take me to turn off because I'm
Tony. You couldn't do that, man. We all know you're on 24/7.
Yeah,
work nonstop.
But like, I mean, if I turn it off, like, I don't know how long it would make me like completely let go. Yeah. So,
well, you got to find a new hobby, right?
Yeah,
and
you got to find a
hobby. It's actually very similar to what we go through all the time with our clients that are retiring.
Yeah,
they have to find a new hobby. Some people retire and then they go find another job a couple years later because they don't know necessarily what they want to do, what kind of hobbies they want to do.
Yeah.
So that's what Brady's got to have to do. He's going to figure out, does he want to be a business mongol? Like, does he want to invest that money into all kinds of different new projects, new businesses, be involved with those projects? Does he want to sit back and relax and buy an island and build a city on an island because he's got enough money to do stuff?
Yeah.
Things like that. Like,
I'm sure he'll figure it out.
Well, I'm sure he'll figure it out too. But right now we're talking and we're guessing. We're doing.
I know. I just think I think he'll wean into a lot of things. He'll kind of coast into it, and again, it's going to take a long time to. He's obviously some type of competitiveness in him, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure he'll turn it on when he's like watching the other guys playing football next, August and September.
Like you said, I do think he's probably gonna stick around football somehow. He's probably gonna create a business around football. Brady's like Sports Institute. Who knows? like a charity organization that's like, and he maybe get involved with that in the charitable side of things. He is helping the youth, the sports competitiveness. Like I was talking about before, like competition drives humans. Like day in, day out, we do what we do because we want to be the best stock pickers out there, the best planners out there. Like that's that kind of thing, right? Like growing up, all of us played sports, right? I mean, you played basketball. Tony, what'd you play?
Golf.
Golf. I mean, you golf now. I know
golf
that.
now, but I golfed in high school.
Did you?
Yeah.
Awesome. And then I played baseball. So I mean, it's all competition driven, and sports are a big part of competition. And our way of competing nowadays in the stock market, it's a transfer of wealth. When you win, over time, if you invest properly, everyone should win, but it's a transfer of wealth. When you win, somebody probably loses because someone might have a short position against you when you're long, right? So it's the same concept. Everyone's competitive.
Yeah. What do you think he does, D?
So, I think we do need to reflect for 1 minute on what Tom Brady did because he played football at the highest level, like MVP quality performance up to the age of 44, I believe, which is completely unheard of. So to do that, people make fun of, his pistachio ice cream and, never eating carbs and things like that. But that's what you have to do.
It's guacamole ice cream.
Is it guacamole?
I think it was. guacamole. I'm like, no, maybe it was. I don't know. I thought it was something. It was something.
It's gross, whatever it was.
Guacamole,
we can all agree.
Gross.
We can all agree that it was
gross.
gross.
Avocado ice cream.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Mm-hmm. So he, in my opinion, he's going to be the next Magic Johnson. So he's going to have, his fingers in all different kinds of businesses.
I think so.
Restaurants, entertainment. In my opinion, he's going to do it all because he is incapable of just, hanging out.
Yeah.
If I had $300 million, I would probably buy an island and hang out and play a lot of golf.
He's got a line of people around the corner waiting to pitch him an idea because of his fame, his accomplishments. Like someone's going to approach him and something's going to catch his attention. Yeah. So I don't think he needs to come up with anything. I think he'll be approached by a lot of people.
Sure.
All right. So last thing I got for you guys, I saw this on Twitter today. So by several different people. So they put a picture up of basically the SoFi Stadium and all the prices for the tickets, essentially, to get into the Super Bowl. Basically, to get into the lower bowl, you're at $15,000 a seat minimum. The corners are a little less. The get-in price, by my calculation, is about $6,000. So basically, some of the worst seats in the house, you need
per seat,
$6,000. And basically everyone's saying, how are the fans supposed to be able to watch their team on the big day? The name of the show is The Capitalist Investor. Do you guys have a problem with the tickets being so expensive, or would you like to see, more fans be able to go to the Super Bowl?
Supply and demand, baby.
Right, yeah.
Supply and demand.
Have you seen that stadium? Holy cow, it's gorgeous, and it looks expensive. It's not.
Listen, if somebody's willing to pay, if they fill up the stadium with $6,000 tickets, be my guest.
Yeah.
If they have the demand there that's willing to pay for that, that's what I think it should all be based off of, man. If there's no demand, then they're going to have to lower tickets, and then more people get involved. I mean, that's literally capitalism.
I'm guessing we're not going to see scalpers outside that day. And when trying to sell a ticket, you're going to see that guy.
Yeah, seriously. But I mean, listen, I enjoy going to the games and everything, like when I have the opportunity to. But honestly, like you get just as good of a view sitting at home drinking a beer.
Better. It's better.
Sure.
Yeah, unless you're sitting 50-yard line midway up, something like that. But there's 10% of the 10% of the people going to the game have those seats. Everyone else.
I like going to the bars outside of the games and like having a few beers. I think those are more fun than actually going to the game. I don't know. That's just my personal opinion.
I like watching it on TV. I get a good view. I get replay. I get to see it almost as close as you can get. I don't know. It's just.
Hey,
but the experience of being there is just
the Steelers and the Browns
different.
aren't in the Super Bowl, so I mean, my home team Steelers, and then here in the city Browns. So really, I guess Cincinnati, them being kind of 3.5 hours away.
They're out of our conference.
That's a whole
division.
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing, though. The Cincinnati and Cleveland don't seem to get along too well over the years.
Oh no, I heard some Cleveland fans are converting to Cincinnati.
Yeah, that's the controversy right there.
Well, they got a quarterback for the next decade.
Yeah.
So
Joe Burrow's the man.
if you're gonna jump ship, do it now because you can jump on that pony right now
the question
and
is,
be a Super Bowl
all right, real
fan.
quick, let's end on this. All right, is Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow going to be the next Tom Brady, or neither?
So, I don't want to turn this into sports talk radio, but my quick thought is that Joe Burrow he's got the it factor. That guy is a winner. His arm talent and all that stuff is not that elite. So, Patrick Mahomes, other than, having a complete meltdown in the second half of that game, that guy has crazy off the chart tools at his disposal. So
True.
I'm going to have to go with Mahomes on that one.
You think Mahomes will be the next?
Oh,
not Burrow. You said no.
Yeah.
Man, if I've had to guess, I think that Joe Burrow is going to be the better quarterback based on just being in the league a little bit shorter. Yep. He's got some weapons that aren't Mahomes kind of weapons that he's showing off.
Well, and that's where I was going to go with it. Like, I think Mahomes has better people to rely on than Burrow does right now. So I think Burrow's natural talent's coming out a lot more, like the leadership qualities.
Yeah.
So I would go with him if I had to pick, but I think they both are great QBs. I was just curious, Tom Brady's retiring, Ben Roethlisberger's retiring, all these kind of like legends, you know what I mean? Like kind of have led Super Bowl victories. Now you see a lot of young people coming about again. This is going to be, another repeatable process to where we're 10 years down the road.
All right.
A lot of these guys could easily be the next Tom Brady.
Yeah. All right.
Super Bowl prediction.
And the reason why. Who you like and why?
Yeah.
Quick.
Bengals. I'm going to go with Bengals, the underdog. I'm an underdog kind of guy. I'm going to go 27-24.
All right.
Okay.
What do you got?
I'm going to take I'm going to take the Rams. I think their defense is better. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Super Bowl MVP was Aaron Donald or Aaron Donald.
Yep.
The defensive tackle.
Yeah, I'm with you, Tony. I'm going to say 20-13 Rams. Defense getting it done for them.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you all for listening to this week's episode of The Capitalist Investor. We really appreciate you. So thanks for listening. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get the notifications on Wednesday when the new episodes come out. And we will talk to you next week.
The opinions expressed in the podcast are for general informational purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any investment, legal, financial, or tax strategy. It is only intended to provide education about the financial industry. Please consult a qualified professional about your individual needs.